So, in interviews for Season 7, Filoni's like, oh, the Clone Wars, to me, is about Ahsoka and Rex. And again, this arc is proof that this isn't about Rex. We hardly saw Rex. We saw Rex 5 minutes total in this arc. And so it's like, no, this isn't about Rex. And when you look at the earlier seasons, it's very obviously not about Ahsoka either. And from what I've read on like StarWars.com, the original idea for the Clone Wars, it was supposed to be about Anakin and Obi-Wan. And then, yeah, that Filoni is just suddenly like, oh no, it's, to me, it's about these two, my characters, me. It's about my writing and me.
I'll be your alibi.
The popular belief isn't always the correct one. Ahsoka fans, I'm looking at you. At least now we know where to point them. Hey, you remember the quip of Season 6, Episode 4? Maybe you should read that one again. But yeah, I was just thinking, past episode, the quip was, when in doubt, go to the source. I guess he technically went to the source? So that sort of made sense. So now we're going to see what's going to be the popular belief. I guess maybe that the Kaminoans are telling the truth about it inhibiting aggression? I don't know. Let us see.
Clone Crisis. After the mysterious death of his friend Tup, ARC Trooper Fives embarked on an investigation, which led to the discovery of a hidden chip.
This is a complete misrepresentation of the last 3 episodes, sorry. He's like, oh, Clone Crisis, after the mysterious death of his friend Tup, Fives, embarked on this mission to investigate and found a chip and blah, 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 blah. And that's not what happened. Like, these writers are just like, oh, here, you write this and you write that, but you're not allowed to talk to each other and you're not allowed to read what he wrote before you write.
No. What was that? He drugged me.
And Shakti was standing 5 feet away. She's not paying attention to Fives at all, even though she clearly doesn't trust the Kaminoans at this point. But no, she's just letting Nala say sneak around behind her back. What?
No, you drugged me. She...
There, Sultan. Don't strain.
Sir.
Guards, let him down, please.
Okay, so he's like, oh, she drugged me. And then he sees the Chancellor and he's like, all okay, kind of. But he doesn't use his clarity to be like, by the way, she drugged me, right? He's like, oh, she drugged, oh, sir. Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine now. But I'm not going to finish telling you that she drugged me. That just completely slipped my mind.
This thing they put in us malfunctioned in Clone Trooper Tup. I removed his and analyzed it.
No, you didn't. AZ did that.
We still do not know for sure what caused Trooper Tup to kill. We only know that his chip failed.
We don't know what caused Trooper Tup to kill. These chips, I just told you, are meant to prevent him from being unpredictably violent, and his malfunctioned. But we have no idea why he was unpredictably violent.
I'm not at risk.
I'm not at risk, and I can tell because I waited all of 20 minutes before deciding that I'm not at risk.
They used this chip against us to make us more violent than less.
This is quite the leap of logic for him to be like, oh, it'll make us more violent rather than less. And I say leap of logic because it's like, yes, he saw Tup be more violent, or, it was an wrongfully aimed violence from their perspective, but then the rest of the time, he was talking like, oh, it was the removal of the chip, and then now he's kind of flipped again. It's like, it's just confusing. Yes, he's on the right track, but how did he get there? Because he kept saying the wrong thing, like he had it backwards, and now suddenly he's saying it right again.
Like I said, Fives is all over the place in this arc.
What we have here is a single malfunction to one clone's inhibitor chip caused by a virus.
Okay, but you still haven't found evidence of the virus. And why were you trying to keep these chips a secret? And why aren't they working to their intended purpose all the time? They malfunction and, the person goes crazy, but it's partly supposed to make them more in line, and it's not doing that. There's just so many questions here. None of them are being asked.
Perhaps it would be best if Clone Trooper 5s and I discussed this without your presence.
Chancellor, I must object.
I want this soldier to feel he is having a fair say in this matter.
Then just remove the person that he's, disagreeing with and keeps, shutting him down. Not the other person who's like, hey, I want to hear this guy out.
Where were we?
Could you be any more obviously evil? No, you! It also doesn't make sense because, why didn't he just say, it was you?
It kind of makes sense to me. I don't know if we're going to find out what happened behind closed doors, but maybe Palpatine was just it was me all along. But when you're kind of shocked, you're not forming full sentences all the time.
So his security obviously sucks.
You have done all you can, Doctor.
Why were the chips even given to Palpatine? He's the Chancellor. He's not a scientist or anything like that. You were supposed to bring it to the lab on Coruscant. What the hell is Palpatine gonna do with it? Sure, he can interview 5s, but there is no point in giving him the chips. And wouldn't Shakti be watching those chips like a hawk? Shakti is really dumb in this arc. Really dumb!
In the last episode, we already saw that they're making her stupid for the sake of plot. At the very beginning of this episode, we saw her being stupid for the sake of plot. And this just more stupidity, which is a real shame because I like Shakti.
I trust you will keep these safe.
Of course, Chancellor.
The way that she was like, oh, of course, Chancellor. Does she know he's the bad guy? How much do the Kaminoans know? Are the Kaminoans, just secretly evil this whole time? This is just bugging me so much. Because the Separatists, as you can see in Revenge of the Sith, they weren't in on it. Newt Gunray's we just wanted peace. We just thought we were separating from the Republic to become our own governing body. But then you've got the Kaminoans here who are all along with Palpatine. And it's
why doesn't she jump? Thank you. You could have done that sooner.
I'm guessing the drug is making him act this way. It doesn't seem to be him acting out of the ordinary from what he was doing before.
Close the blast doors!
Close the blast doors. Open the blast doors. The moral of the story is when you're chasing someone, don't call for the blast doors to be closed.
The Kaminoans feel a virus corrupted the clone's inhibitor chip, which has led to this behavior.
But his inhibitor chip is out.
If there is a plot involving the clones, we must get to the bottom of it. We must make sure this clone is not killed.
So I know they fail.
Take me to 79's.
Clone bar? Oh, you're a clone, huh?
Look, just shut up and drive.
Okay, and has the drug worn off yet? Am I going to be able to tell the difference between drugged 5s and normal 5s? Why would he go to a clone bar when he's on the run? I think this is the first bar we've been in where they don't have some scantily clad girl dancing on a table or right in your face or posters of scantily clad women or two people groping each other in the corner. Wow! This is the cleanest bar we've ever seen. I guess clones are more stand-up gentlemen when they're drunk than everybody else.
Except for the fact that they hurled booze at a cab driver. Okay.
In the actual army, if you're in uniform and you behave that way, you can get in a lot of trouble. Because when you are in uniform, you are representing the army as a whole. And so, you're representing your country in a way. And so, yeah, they're hurling bottles at innocent taxi drivers, and it's just like, okay, you wouldn't get away with that in the real world. Like, not if the person reported it.
Wouldn't they be considered defective?
They're being unpredictably violent.
They must have had their chips removed.
Either that or they're, malfunctioning chips. And so obviously this problem is way bigger than what's-her-face was accounting for. So they have no idea what they're writing. There's just, here's some utter garbage. Make it look presentable. It'll still be garbage, but try your best.
I will say this. Why is it always Twi'leks in bars? And they're always wearing the exact same thing, and they're all green-skinned. Like, there's no variety whatsoever.
Because part of the reason, at least that we've seen, is that Ayla wears the outfit that she wears is because Twi'leks are often used as sex slaves. They're often objectified. They're often in these roles. And yeah, the creators are kind of feeding into that stereotype by always having scantily clad Twi'lek women in shady bars and dancing on tables and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, why aren't we seeing people of other races in these roles?
And it's like, Twi'leks aren't even the only race commonly used in that industry. Like, there should be Togrutas seen there too, like in those kind of places. And like, I'm sure there would be lots of females of all sorts of races who would want to just come to a bar for the fun of it. But it's always Twi'leks, and they always look exactly the same, and like, what?
That's actually an interesting point. Haven't really thought of that. But yeah, every bar that we go to, it's like 90% males and then a couple Twi'lek women. Other than like the few times that we see, bounty hunters go into a bar, and there's usually some female bounty hunters, but like there's usually not female patrons. Not really. It's like, men aren't the only ones who go to bars. What message are you trying to send here?
This feels like another men bad TCW moment.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. And it's one of those kind of subconscious messages, right? Like, you don't even think about it. You don't even realize. You just accept it. Like, oh, shady places are full of men, and the only women that are there are working there. I don't know. I'd have to pay a little closer attention. I mean, we're on season 6, and I'm not going back to start from the beginning. But it just seems a little off. Like, in this case, it makes sense because the clones are all guys, except for Omega. But every other bar, I think, is pretty much the same. It's mostly men.
All I can tell you is that I'm being framed. All of us, even the Jedi, are in grave danger.
He's being framed? He did attack the Chancellor and try to kill him. So what is he being framed for?
I love when they're like, well, I can't explain right now. I can only give you the bare details. It's like, how long does it take to say, hey, I know it's kind of tough to explain, but like, we're all implanted with chips in our embryonic stage? The Kaminoans have put something in our brains that we don't know about, and I don't know what it all means or how it will affect us, and I'm trying to find out, but like, things are getting twisted against me. And so I'm kind of on the run because like I've found some stuff out that obviously I'm not supposed to know. And you could probably say it a little bit shorter than that. And like, yeah, the thing with the Chancellor, obviously the Chancellor said or did something that made him attack him. Why doesn't he say what that was? They said you attacked the Chancellor. Yeah, because he straight up told me he's a Sith. I don't know. Is that what this? I don't know what the Chancellor said or did. But, like, that would have been a perfect opportunity for us to find out. Instead of, oh no, I'm being framed. And as you're absolutely right, he's not being framed.
Just turn yourself in. What I'm mixed up in, it goes all the way to the top. I have to talk to General Skywalker and Rex directly. Alone.
And again, perfect opportunity and stop short. And it's like, okay, well, why does it turn yourself in? Oh, okay, I'm turning myself into you. You escort me. Make sure I get there.
And it's like, he should be telling this to as many people as possible. It needs to get out there. So why is he like, oh, it takes too long to explain. I just have to talk to Rex or Skywalker. No! Tell this guy. Tell everyone. Just get up on the counter in the bar and tell everyone there.
This is important information and you know they're trying to silence you. Get it out of your head. Get it into as many other heads as you possibly can.
I can contact Rex, but I can't guarantee he'll bring the General. Here are the coordinates. Make sure he meets me there.
Oh, I can contact Rex. And then he's like, oh, here's the coordinates. And I'll wait to meet him there. Why don't you just have him contact him right now and he comes meet you right here? What if you don't make it to the coordinates? What if you get, caught first? What if they don't make it to the coordinates? Hi. I'm just so frustrated right now. Because you could very easily have it that he's like, yeah, like contact him, bring him here, bring him right now. And then they walk out. And that's the other thing. Why does he, he can tell that Kix is on his side. So then he's like, why don't they stick together? Why do they split up?
I was literally just about to say that. Why doesn't he let Kix have his back?
Yeah, because I was about to say, they walk out and he's gonna contact Rex and they're gonna wait from there, and then they see these guys come in, and it's like, okay, crap, this, we can't stay here. They're gonna find me, and so it's like, oh, okay, well then, where should we go? Oh, well, let's go over there to that place, coordinates, whatever, and then they're going to go together, but then Kix has to create a diversion or something so that he can get out, and that's why they get split up. This is just dumb, right? You could have the exact same result, but with a much better, more interesting series of events.
You seen this clone? No, sir, I haven't seen it. Alright, move along.
Here, have you seen this person who looks almost identical to you and everyone else here? No, I haven't seen him. Move along. It's a very effective way of going about this.
Alright, you guys check out. Move along.
Nobody's standing at the door. Anyone can walk in and out, and they're just gonna, tell me your identification. Oh, you, have you seen that? This is the lamest, worst, most ineffective. I have no words. Those things work better than the clones. How are the Kaminoans still in business? What happened to his hat? Why didn't he keep the hat? Oh, for the sake of plot.
The fugitive clone has been spotted by one of our probes in sector I-9.
Not so smiley anymore, you palpitating. They arrived so fast, he could have just waited at the bar.
Fives, we're here.
I love how they use their lightsabers as flashlights.
Just hear what I have to say.
Is this just a convenience drug? That it just comes in and out of effect as convenient? This is pathetic.
I just need you to listen to me.
Start with, I've been drugged.
I was framed because I know the truth about a plot. By who? I have proof of it. I can prove that everything that I know is true beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Just answer the question. I thought you brought them here so that you could tell them what the heck is going on. So they're like, okay, a massive plot? By whom? I have proof of it. I have proof. I can prove it beyond a shadow of it. Really?
Okay, but what can you prove?
Show me the evidence.
He's like, show me the evidence. Well, evidence is nothing without context. Stupidity for the sake of the plot.
And I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, it's the drug working on. What is the drug? What is it supposed to do? It's been in his system for how long now, and it just kind of comes and goes whenever. So, what is it? And what is it supposed to make him do? How is it supposed to affect him?
Sort this out.
You don't believe me!
He's like, let's sort this out. You don't believe me!
Yeah, again, I think this is supposed to be the drug, but again, this is just so vague. Yeah, he got injected with this drug and he's been totally fine up until now! And this is totally the drug, making him crazy.
Again, with the vague writing, it's bad.
You can be subtle, but don't be vague. Like, yeah, you don't have to spell everything out for your audience. Don't treat your audience as stupid. But vague is not the same as subtle. And if you're targeting younger audiences, you usually do have to do a little bit more spelling, right? Because they're still learning to make connections and stuff like that. You shouldn't treat a young audience as stupid either, but like typically it should be clearer. But this is, again, they want us to write the explanation. They just leave it vague so that we write it for them. That's what makes TCW good in most people's views, is all of their headcanon, all of their own made-up explanations to connect the dots, because so many things are left unexplained, are left vague. And so you, as the viewer, have to do the work. That's not good writing.
How do I know you're not tricking me? How do I know it won't be a trap?
He's like, how do I know that this isn't a trap? After he trapped them. Someone get this man a mirror, please.
The Chancellor would try to kill me.
I was like, when is he gonna get to the Chancellor? And now he's like, oh, the Chancellor's gonna try and kill me. Can we just get to the part where you tell us what happened in that room, please? Like, maybe you should have opened with that. What happened there that made him attack the Chancellor? Again, we have our guesses, but we don't know. And so I'm starting to think that they're never going to say what happened there because they don't know. They just needed something to happen there. So they had it happen behind closed doors, and they're like, the audience will come up with ideas for what happened. If they don't give any explanation, I'm gonna be ticked off.
The writing in this show is so abominably lazy.
He's in on it. I don't know to what extent, but I know he orchestrated much of this. He told me in the medical bay.
At least we know now that Chancellor Palpatine said, yeah, I'm in on it. Like, I orchestrated this at the very least. But he also kind of said, I don't know how much he orchestrated it. Either which way, at least they gave some sort of explanation. Thank you. And the fact that he never brought up AZ3 also kind of bothers me. Because he's like, the evidence, it's in here, right? He could have just said, find the droid AZ3 on Kaminoa. He helped me. He knows what I'm talking about. Like, he can show you where they are.
Except that AZ was scheduled to have his memory wiped.
Yeah, I guess my point is, though, if he gives them, go find AZ3, and so they show up on Kaminoa, and they're like, okay, where's droid AZ3? It's like, we wiped his memory. Why? Why did you wipe his memory? Just cause?
Well, they'd come up with some excuse, right?
Get away from me! No!
I used to think, Five's death is so emotional, so sad. I don't care. After watching this arc again, I don't. Fives is dumb, and now he's dead. And I don't care.
But it's kind of like I said at the beginning of the arc, that like it would have made more sense for like Rex or someone to be in this role. Like Fives has never been in a front row role, but they just wanted someone they could kill. And so they're like, here, have him. And it's like, I'm sad because they just mistreated his character like they do with every character. I wouldn't say that Fives is being dumb because, yeah, obviously the drug is affecting him, but like just the writing in regards to the whole drugging and everything, it was just so stupid that I can't appreciate it ruining everything at the last moment.
But like, even before he was drugged and before the effects even began to set in, he was being dumb. Everyone in this arc was being dumb.
Especially Shakti. Like, that was just so stupid. That was like, yes, take this to Coruscant. And then it's waved right in front of her face when it's supposed to be halfway to Coruscant, and she's just like, yes, okay.
And Filoni has ruined yet another great character.
So in interviews for season 7, in one of the Bad Batch episodes, Filoni's like, oh, the Clone Wars to me is about Ahsoka and Rex. And again, this arc is proof that this isn't about Rex. We hardly saw Rex. We saw Rex, 5 minutes total in this arc. And so it's like, no, this isn't about Rex. And when you look at the earlier seasons, it's very obviously not about Ahsoka either. And from what I've read on StarWars.com, the original idea for the Clone Wars, it was supposed to be about Anakin and Obi-Wan. And then, that Filoni is just suddenly like, oh no, it's to me, it's about these two, my characters, me. It's about my writing and me. This show drives me bananas. So are the clones in red armor just bad guys? I understand they were kind of just doing their job, but at the same time, they were overhearing him saying, the Chancellor's in on it, and they're just like, yeah, let's just break this up, instead of, what?
It's Commander Fox in charge. He was leading the guys in red. And I have heard fans say that, they theorize that he's in on the whole thing. But maybe the red troopers are just better clones. Because they actually follow orders and all that jazz.
I mean, it's entirely possible that, Chancellor Palpatine surrounded himself with clones that actually behave the way he wants them to. And they're just properly manufactured clones. They're not evil. Kind of like, we had in the prequels, but then they had to be fixed. And so now the properly manufactured clones are bad guys. Which is why we had to put chips in the good guys.
Get this ray shield off!
Couldn't Anakin have used the Force to do that? And he still had his lightsaber on him. He just turned it off and put it back on his belt, as far as I could tell. It was Rex who put his guns down on the thing where Fives could see them.
I'm putting my pistols down.
I'm really, really pissed off right now.
The mission, the nightmares, they're finally over.
So is this a clone's death thing? Because Tup was saying the exact same thing, but I kind of attributed it to the fact that, the chip was finally out of his head. But now he's saying the exact same thing. And I understand, the clones are cannon fodder, but they're people. They go through horrific experiences, and I'm sure most, if not all of them, have PTSD in some shape or form. But because TCW never addresses PTSD, then you get these throwaway lines of, oh, the nightmares are finally over. And it's like, okay, well, what are you referring to? Because you seem perfectly fine with all of the horror that you witnessed and partook in. And now you're talking about nightmares. So is this TCW trying to be like, oh, yes, but they have PTSD. We just don't actually want to show PTSD. We'll just throw in a line about nightmares and there you go. PTSD. Or is it like, I finally see the light on the other side? Or I don't understand.
Don't go.
Wow, you actually get to see the red clones react to that. But this is interesting because there is a movie about fighter pilots, and you are following the newer guys, and they go out on their first flight. They're all nervous, but hyped for it, but what? But then they watch so many pilots die, and they come back in the evening and they're just horrified. And they had tried to go to the bar that was on base earlier, but they were oh no, you can't come in here until you've got some kills to put up on the board. So then now they've done their first flight, they've done some kills, so they come in and people are yeah, you got your first kills, put them on the board, and here, have some drinks, and everyone's just partying it up. And these guys are just what is wrong with you? We just saw our friends get killed. And they're what do you want us to do about it? We see this day after day after day. And if you allow that to consume you, you'll lose your mind. But we have to get back in our planes again tomorrow and do it all over again. And, we just gotta celebrate their memory and drink away the sorrows. We just saw the only clone bar we've ever seen, kind of showing they kind of do the same thing, right? They just kind of forget about it. It's like, no, can't dwell on it. And so this is the only opportunity in that sense for us to kind of see this moment. I did really appreciate that we get the reaction of the clones that came, but that even more so then makes me wonder, okay, why didn't they stop and listen a little longer? Nobody was in any danger because Anakin and Rex were behind a shield. They were just talking, and he's going on about the Chancellor is like up to here in conspiracy involving you guys. And I do kind of appreciate that we do get to see them mourning his loss. It doesn't really have much emotional impact because the art writing in this arc, like every arc, sucks. But like, I do appreciate that they're trying.
I've had my own personal doctors examine both bodies.
Another cause? Your doctors found?
A parasite.
So Shakti witnessed as this doctor tried over and over and over again to find any sort of virus, parasite, whatever. Nothing. She sees with her own eyes the difference between Tup's chip and Five's chip, and Five's is, much healthier, and Tup's is obviously very decayed and stuff like that. And now he's saying, oh yes, no, this parasite infected both their chips and and Shakti's like, this doesn't sound quite right.
Nope. Nothing from Shakti.
We must direct our attention back to the war at hand.
Wait, your attention left it?
We grow closer and closer to victory.
Yeah, he doesn't try to hide how evil he is. No, never.
Our plan has gone undiscovered, Master.
It was very much discovered.
The Jedi still suspect nothing.
Only because they're stupid.
No one will be able to stop our plan to execute Order 66.
Oh wow, what a reveal. Oh wow, I'm so blown away by this reveal. Because I did not make the connection that Protocol 66 was actually Execute Order 66. Yeah, great. I guess that means that the Jedi are just accepting the explanation that the chips are to inhibit their aggression, even though they're soldiers whose job it is to be violent. They're just like, oh yes, this makes sense. Our soldiers are, inhibited from being violent. Yes, it makes perfect sense to me. Because when has aggression ever been useful in combat? They threw in unpredictable a couple times. So, that makes sense. But it's like, okay, was Jango unpredictable? Because that's what the explanation was. It was to inhibit the aggression from the DNA donor, Jango Fett. But if Jango was really that unpredictable, who would work with him? And why would you consider him a good DNA donor? If you have to put in this chip to inhibit the unpredictability, it's so ingrained in his DNA that you have to put in this chip. Why wouldn't you just choose a different person?
I hate this show. Can we all just acknowledge how infinitely better this was done in Legends?
This show is awful. Terrible. Disgusting. See you next week. Of course.